City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down, yeah.
I was born in the city, I was raised on its edges. My pop work is life when it's complex. I found love in its center. If I could live here forever, think it'd be for the better. I love the weather, even though it's fog 24/7. I love the people, this is city. I met all my best friends, and I wanna thank every brick. I wanna thank every entrance to every building that I step in this city of mine. I owe you most my best moments in life. See, I fell in love for the first time in Golden Gate Park. I saw my first rap show at Great American Hall. I used to beg my homies for a ride across the bridge to goof off and spend the whole damn day doing whatever we want. Keith drove us down to Ike's place while we'd roll up a blunt, and me and Jack would get stoned, walk around and get lost. Don't think I'll ever truly pay back all I was lucky to get just by walking through the city. No, I'm a small part of this.
City of mine, how I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine, how I love this city of mine. It never gets me down.
I never really had a place to call my own, so I travel and I roam till I find that. But I'm full of adventure, so I wander and I venture, and it's safe to say that really I don't mind that. I book a flight to try to figure where my mind's at, a spot where I don't spend no money, just some time at. I mix and mingle with the people till I learn a little. I brought some weed and baby, maybe we could burn a little. She said you're funny, I said no, I'm Xavier, then I left. Sun shining, birds chirping, let me take a breath. I'm headed to the city where my chance to make it best. What people like to give a little, then you take the rest. I'm hoping one day maybe I can find a place to rest. I fell in love with life and wonder where it take me next. I like the hustle and bustle, I fell in love with the fashion. I feel the pulse of the city, it's moving me like a passion, and it's mine.
Baby, we go way back, all the situations, circumstances, still we don't mind. Steady going on, I dance around the street lights. Hey, I know every street sign, hanging around the block like if you are my friend, then you are welcome any moment. Yeah, city of mine, how I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine, how I love this city of mine. It never gets me down.
The Dow is over 50,000 right now.
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Oh, you didn't know?
What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday.
Your ass better call somebody. Time.
What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Tuesday Unfiltered. I'm your host, Ken. For those of you that are here every week, and those of you that may watch the replay, thank you so much for taking the time tonight to come hang out. I appreciate you all so much. Let me go back and say hello to people. What's up, Jessica? Great to see you. It's my beautiful wife, always one of the first in the chat. Kyle, what's up, brother? Good to see you. We got our friend Dean. What's up, Dino from Minnesota? Man, it's good to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything's going well for you. I saw that you posted something. You're going to be doing something different. I don't know what that means. I'm excited. Dean, you got to let me know, man. But I hope you're doing well. It's so good to see you. Let's see. Yeah, and if you don't mind, this is me. I'm going to bring up my own comment, but do me a favor, share this stream out to your favorite social media platform. Let people know we're live. Let people know we're here every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. I appreciate that so much. Those shares mean the absolute world. Thumbs up the video as you come in. I know a lot of you are used to TikTok, and TikTok lives work a little bit different, where you kind of tap the screen. This one, I think you have to close it if you're on your phone, or basically come out of full screen mode, and you'll see the thumbs up right below the actual video. So hit that thumbs up if you don't mind. And that just tells YouTube that you enjoy what's going on here. Maybe you don't like it yet. Maybe you're not sure and I have to earn it. I'll do my best. I appreciate you for giving me that shot. So thank you all for all the support and all the shares. What's up, Scott? Good to see you, brother. Bearded Coast Grooming says, what's up, everyone? Happy Pride. 100% happy Pride Month to everybody that celebrates. And nothing but love from here. We love you guys. So happy Pride. Scott, good to see you as always. This stream is sponsored by the Bearded Coast Grooming Company, and Scott makes some fantastic products, some awesome merch. So go check out the Bearded Coast. This is why, and I show this every time, I keep this here. And I just realized, Carl, if you're in the chat yet, I failed you, and I will fix that tomorrow, sir. But this is why I rock with the Bearded Coast. Right here. Scott is not afraid. Matter of fact, go to Bearded Coast Instagram, and he's posting about Pride Month. I think he's posted something about let's make the homophobes uncomfortable. I love it. So, yeah, Bearded Coast. Always glad to have you, brother. Friendly, it's good to see you. What's up, friend? Hope you're doing well. Percy's in the house. What's up, Percy? It's good to see you, man. Good to see you. Tattoo Tourist is here. So good to see you. Oh, and Carl. Carl is here. Darn it, Carl. I failed, Carl. I failed you, sir. I did not even think about it until I saw. So babe, Mel, in the chat, if you don't mind, remind me, please, that I have to send one of these to Carl, because I close the stream down and start to unwind for the night. And I'm sorry, Carl, I forgot all about it, but I will make sure that goes out tomorrow. Yeah, and every purchase, every Ken 15 purchase gets that sticker. So real quick, Ken 15 does save you 15% off at thebeardedcoast.com. You can use that to save 15% on the entire site. I think with the exception of merch, I believe, but everything else, 15% off. So, and that's all that I'm going to try to sell you tonight. This is not a sales show, but I do want to share that because I support the heck out of Scott and the Bearded Coast. Just a good dude and a good company. So, and here's our guest for the night. Michael's in the chat. He is also in the green room. We will be getting to him very, very shortly. I'm excited to talk to him. We're going to talk about his campaign. He was running for Wisconsin's 6th Congressional District. He had to drop out. We'll let him talk about that, but he has endorsed somebody else. And let's be honest about Wisconsin, right? For those of you who don't live in the state of Wisconsin, we have so many horrible representatives in the House. Tonight we're talking about Glenn Grothman, who is not my representative, so I cannot vote for any of these guys. This is in the next district over. Mine is just as bad. Scott Fitzgerald, he is horrible. And I hope he loses also. Because if he loses, we win. That's pretty much, a lot of you can probably say the same thing. Yeah, and she's got me, Carl. We'll make sure that goes out, Carl. So my wife is good at reminding me about stuff, so we'll make sure that goes out. All right, so real quick, before we get on to the show here, I just want to remind you that we are live here every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe first of all. If you're in the chat right now and you cannot chat, that is because the chat is set to subscribe only. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get in on the chat. We have fun here. We do talk some serious stuff. We also have fun in the chat, so make sure you get in on that. Just upcoming guests real quick. So next week, we have from the 3rd Congressional District, Emily Berge, who is running against Derek Van Orden. So another seat that we need to replace. And then there's a 2-week gap we'll talk about, but June 30th, Bernard Taylor from Florida, and then Josh Mitness, who is running for the 50th Assembly District in Wisconsin. And then we're going down to Iowa, for the 4th Congressional District, Stephanie Steiner. I've not done my research about that district yet, so I don't know who that rep is, but that's where she's running. So that's the upcoming show. Of course, we have the merch store. If you want to become part of the Mic Drop crew, shop.kensconsin.com. The merch store is there. And listen, we're doing a giveaway tonight. We have 2 giveaways. one from the Bearded Coast Grooming Company, and I decided last minute to do a $30 gift card to the merch store. So we'll do those giveaways later on. Of course, I have my rant. We're going to rant tonight for sure. Looking forward to that one. So, all right, here we go, y'all. First of all, before we go any further, let me know in the chat, how was your week? How's your week so far? How was your weekend? What do you got planned for the rest of the week? And love to hear it. Love to hear it. I love that you all choose to spend Tuesday night with me here, and I appreciate every single one of you. So, okay, let's get, hey, no worries at all, Rep. No worries. No worries. Good to see you. There's one of my mods. Appreciate you. All right. So let's get to the chat here. Again, we have Michael Heidenreich. Yeah. Oh, Michael, it's good stuff, man. Good stuff. We have Michael Heidenreich, who was running for Wisconsin's 6th Congressional District. We're going to talk about that for a little bit. We're going to talk about the ways that Glenn Grothman is failing, not only Wisconsin, but the entire country. And then we'll talk a little bit about who Mike has endorsed as he had to step out of the race. So here we go. Let's introduce and welcome Mike. And there he is. Mike, how are you, sir?
I'm well. I love the the walk-up music. Like, I felt like I was coming out at a wrestling event.
You're coming down the ramp to the ring, and it's about to get real. Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah,
that was fun.
So, 6th Congressional District. We're going to talk about all that stuff tonight. Before we get to all that fun stuff, though, and like I said when we were getting ready for the show, I want to respect your time tonight. So if you don't mind, real quick, introduce yourself to the audience and let them know who you are.
My name is Mike Heidenreich. I am, or was, a candidate for the 6th Congressional District. I had to drop out, but I currently a local union power plant worker with IBEW Local 965, and I have been doing that for, near 20 years now.
20 years. We were talking about this before the show. Like we realized we were talking about, getting older, getting out of shape, getting back into shape. And, we're just getting old, man. We're getting old.
You definitely feel it when you do a physical job for a living and you get up in the morning, you're like, I'm going to have to pay attention to that as I do stretches before work, because otherwise it's going to hurt all damn day.
Right. I've been lucky. The last 10 years or so of my Army career was very sedentary. It was not very physical. I was IT changed in the Army, and so what I did changed also, and it became more what we know as IT now. And that's what I do now for my day job. So I sit right back here, go to the gym at lunchtime. It's a good life. So luckily, the physical aspect for me is not as much, but
I tell people I am the guy Homer Simpson yells at in the power plant. I go turn valves for a living, and it's physical work. You come home tired. It's a 12-hour shift, and when you're done, you're done. You want to go home and go to sleep.
Yeah, like my friend Scott said, the 40s have been ruthless. They can be. All right. Well, before we get to the fun stuff of this conversation, just like we do every week here, we want to get to know our guest a little bit. So Mike has sent me some random facts we're going to talk about. So let me say real quick, what's up to Monzi? I see you. Thanks for popping in. Who else came in here? Tattoo Tourist, did I say hello to you? It's good to see you. Shaq. We say Shaq. Shaquille Oatmeal, one of the coolest names on YouTube. Good to see you. Looks like everybody's having a good week so far, which is awesome. All right, here we go. Let's get to know some random facts about Mike here.
I'ma talk back in the who that? We that? Who that? We that? Who that? Take a picture, baby, let me step back. Who that? We that? Who that? We that? Who that? Take a picture, baby, let me step back.
And Mike, before we get into these, I'll say thank you. So Mike reserved a calendar spot pretty much when I announced the show months ago, and I did not have this on my questionnaire yet. So today I actually forgot until today. Hey, what's up, Juggermonk? Good to see you. I forgot until today, and I sent Mike an email. I was like, hey man, can you send me some facts? Cause I failed and forgot. So he took care of me there. So here we go. Let's start off with random fact number 1. And you and I are very similar on this, by the way. I'm sure my wife will pop in the chat with something here. Mike says, I read ridiculously fast. So,
but books got to the point where I'd read them and be done before the author could write a new book. And so I read through Stephen King's works and then got done with them and was like, I thought there'd be more. I've always read fast. But recently, man, I haven't had time. I haven't read for fun in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I read super fast, and I'm guessing, hey, what's up, Cherry? Good to see you. I'm guessing that, I'm not guessing. I know why. It comes from just reading code, honestly. I do at work, I do a lot of Perl scripting and bash scripting and, do some Python stuff, whatever. But, trying to read through code, I read real fast. My wife will show me something on, whatever, Facebook or like an email or whatever. She'll be like, here, I need you to read this. And she'll scroll and I'm like, okay, I'm at the bottom already. So I just super fast. Yeah.
When I was a little younger, they had those voice to TTI. You could do that as a job, and I did that for a little bit. You had to be able to type up, basically do voice to text for a machine, and you had to get a voice that had no monotone, or it was all monotone, and I had to learn how to speak like that back in the day, and I did that for a little bit. So I had to train myself to do that.
Gotcha. I do a lot of audiobooks now. And I've already got a couple downloaded and ready to go for, we've got a 12-hour plane ride coming up here in a couple of weeks. So that's what I'll be doing. Carl's asking, what is your favorite Dark Tower book?
Oh,
I can't help because I don't know Dark Tower.
That is a good question. And I'm trying to remember the titles of the books. So it was the first one. It was not the second or the third. God, it's been 20 years since I read that.
Carl's giving you an out. He said it's a hard question to answer. So
no, I remember like, what was so cool about the Dark Tower series was it had other like ins with his like shared universe. So like you'd see characters from other Stephen King books in the Dark Tower. And I thought that was the coolest thing. It was like a preview for the Marvel Cinematic Universe where you'd see a character you saw in another book. And I don't know if I have a favorite, but that was the cool thing about it for me, was the fact that I saw characters that I was like, hey, I know that character. I just read that book.
Right. I don't know Dark Tower. I don't know those stories or those books at all. My favorite authors, Michael Crichton, John Grisham, Dean Koontz, and Stephen King. Those are my top 4. So yeah. Carl does say The Gunslinger is the first one.
Yeah, The Gunslinger. I do believe that was it, but I'll be honest, Carl, it's been so long. I probably need to reread them. I remember them, but I don't remember the details of them well enough to say, yeah, that's definitely it.
Gotcha. I do want to point out real quick before we move on. So Carl, thanks for this question, because I want to point out, so if you have any questions for Mike along the way, if you don't mind, lead your question with a Q:, and that will help me search them. Depending on where we are in conversation, I may bring it up right away, or I may save it, and then I can go back and I can search comments, and I'll search it with that Q:. So we will do towards the end sort of a Q&A if there's any questions that people do have, if we don't get to them during the actual conversation. So that'll help me out. Carl, I appreciate that. That Q:, always helps. All right. So, yeah, Monzi, I don't know if you're live or not. You may be a little behind, but yeah. We were talking earlier about, getting older. That's what looking forward to your 40s is like. Stay in the gym, though. Stay as healthy as you can for as long as you can.
Stretch, and take care of your damn joints. Let me tell you.
Don't judge me, Mike. I don't stretch enough.
No. He said, "What's it like looking forward to your 40s? Do those things, please. You will.
Absolutely.
You will appreciate it."
I just feel a little bit attacked, Mike, because I don't stretch enough, and I'm just kidding. I need to.
Neither do I.
All right, random fact number 2. So Mike says, I was a gamer, and that was the biggest thing I gave up when I became a parent. So first of all, same. I used to be a big time gamer. So anyway, tell us about it. What kind of games did you play? What were you into?
Oh, I take a pick. I did shooters for a little bit. I still played Escape from Tarkov for a little bit, and I had to stop that because it's you have to do it all the time in order to actually be good at it. I played some older games. A lot of people won't remember or know this at all, but there was a game called The Long Dark, and it was basically like a survival simulator. And it was a very cartoony style of art, but it was just so beautiful. I think my background on my computer used to be a screenshot of that game. And for me, video gaming was a way to tell a story and have an escape that you controlled. It was like writing a book in real time. And shooters were just fun. I enjoyed schooling like kids half my age who all thought, oh, hey, and they've changed it a lot, Carl. It's very different than it used to be. I haven't played it in, a couple of years since I got back into politics, because that kind of takes up all my time.
Yeah, for sure. Especially in 2026. Yeah. Barry, what's up, Barry? Good to see you. He says, what's your favorite game and why is it Chrono Trigger?
Barry, if my computer could run Chrono Trigger well, I would, yeah. I have an older PC that I could afford. So and this is a really dumb thing, but I loved playing Escape from Tarkov because it taught me a lot about guns. Like the gun building simulator on that was actually one of the more fun parts of the game.
I never played it, so I don't.
I'll say this: it's not toxic, the actual game, but it's people who have played it a while are like, don't save yourself the aggravation.
Right. All right. Yeah. Carl says, gotta give up things we love to help people we love. It's respectable. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3. Now you sent me a list and you said, your wife had said, it's not supposed to be political, which is okay. I liked your number 3, so I threw it up there anyway. I will say, first of all, before we answer this, one of the answers he gave me is that he is a huge Green Bay Packers fan, which, of course, we respect that. Let me get this right. Of course, we respect that.
Go, Pack, go!
Oh, Donald Driver. Yes.
I had a signed one of him. I had Clay Matthews somewhere around here. And I think I had a Brett Favre from like a long time ago. And I had a Rodgers jersey that I think got damaged at a game. Like it got actually like burnt. Like that was one of those really expensive jerseys too. I didn't burn it. It got damaged. So I don't have that one anymore. And I had a Raji jersey. That was one of my most treasured ones.
I'm going to have to go to full screen for a minute. This football right here, of course it's blurry, but it's signed by Aaron Jones.
Nice.
And if I go, let me see if I can do this full screen. I won't be able to hear you, but I'll come right back. I think you'll still be able to hear me. So this helmet right here is signed by Donald Driver. Well, Scott, I got a movie there. This helmet is signed by Donald Driver. He signed it in Waukesha back in 2017. So Donald Driver is my all-time favorite Packer.
He's hard not to love. He's the kind of guy who you just see him do anything and you're like, class act, like respect, man. Like even if he wasn't like one of my favorite players ever, just respect on how he handles his business. Like you got to give that.
Yeah. So Carl here says, Packers fan, less respect. Don't worry. Carl says that every time somebody's here. Carl is a Lions fan. So, you know.
Hey, Carl, I have a very easy truce with Lions fans because I have for some reason, I know a lot of Lions fans. I don't know why. I'm nowhere near Detroit or anywhere they would congregate, but there was a decent amount of Lions fans and Bears fans and Minnesota Vikings fans who like are just in my daily life. So it's always if it's not game day, we're cool. If it's game day, I will talk smack to you.
Yes, it's always fun. It's fun. We got some Go Chiefs in the chat. Cherry says Go Chiefs. Yeah, Kyle, Donald Driver's amazing, all-time favorite. He's just a good guy overall. And we don't hold this against Scott, but he's a Niners fan. He's originally from California, so don't hold it against him, you know. All right. So anyway, let me get back to the right screen here. Here we are. All right. So you've been politically organizing in some manner since you were 18 years old. And you had a lot more, obviously, in the paragraph. I shortened it up here for this. But yeah, talk about your history organizing.
I don't know why, but when I was younger, politics pressed that button. It said, you know, hey, just showing up and talking to people can make things better. And that caught my attention when I was a kid. And I decided I wanted to do that. I'm from Washington County originally. Actually, Fitzgerald would have been my rep as well when I was, I'm originally from Germantown. And I started politically organizing in Germantown, and then especially in West Bend. I started going canvassing in West Bend. If you're in that area, you know what walking around as a Democrat is like. And I've been a Democrat since I was old enough to understand what that distinction meant. And I went to people's houses and they're just like, "You're a Democrat? Why?" And I had to go through the whole, you know, this is why. This is what I believe in, and this is why I'm trying to convince you to vote for Democrats. And I was organizing up until about 2008, 2009. I did the first Obama campaign, and that kind of, I mean, it was exhilarating and wonderful, but it also got me a little burnt out because I was putting maybe 60 hours a week in that towards the end. And I just had become a father recently at that point, and I didn't have enough time. So I just started going to work. And I think I kind of thought that I could just leave it be. I thought we turned a corner as a country in 08. I really did. I had a feeling like, okay, this is just going to work out and it doesn't need me anymore. I was wrong. And I think a lot of people thought they could just check out. And then we saw what happened in the last 20 years. And it's like, oh, you know, when you check out, some not so great people check in. And so, yeah, if it could have been something I could have done the whole time and still had a family and supported them, I probably would have done it because I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy talking to people. It's fun for me. But I think I had to learn to balance it life-wise. And yeah, friendly, we all did.
Yeah, and I think we all remember where we were the night of that election and the next morning, right? I distinctly remember that I was driving into Fort Knox. I can remember the road. I was driving down the road, listening to the radio, listening to some of the sound bites from the night before. And it just felt different, right? Things just felt different. And like you said, we thought we turned a corner. People thought they could check out, like, we finally made it as a country. And the problem, and this isn't me saying this, this is for the Republican Party. The problem is, again, not me saying this, is that we elected a black man as president. That, for some reason, made everybody on that side go crazy. Even though he's one of the absolute best, not even talking politics, right? Just one of the best men that we've ever had in the White House. Just a good man, right?
Like legitimately, people who were around him were like, yeah, he just treated us like a person. And I think that's something you see with a lot of politicians. It tends to be hard for them to relate to normal people because they haven't dealt with normal people concerns in a really long time. And it's hard to describe how that can get you kind of disconnected from what everyone else is having to deal with. And I never got that sense with Obama. Like, and you can watch him in any, they had a compilation not too long ago. I saw it was how politicians reacted and how Obama reacted to things happening, like someone passing out in the crowd or a lady like tripping and falling. He does what everyone else does and goes and helps them. And all the other politicians are like, oh, this is not worth my time. And they just walk away. And it's like, dude, that's the person. Like, how did you lose that part of yourself that made you want to go help?
Absolutely. What's up, Steve in Wisconsin? Good to see you. I'm going to, if somebody doesn't mind, in the chat, if you can type out, just to tell people to make sure they're live. Cause I don't know, Steve, if you're behind, I just want to make sure, like, obviously totally fine. Just want you to get caught up if you're not. Yeah, Carl says he was the last president in the last 50 to 75 years to have integrity. Even more as a libertarian, I respected the hell out of Obama. 100%. Want to say what's up real quick to Tynomite. What's up, man? It's good to see you. Hey, I want to let you know, Tyno, I've got your hat upstairs. I still have to send it. Brian was on tour. I still got to get that to him so he can sign it so I can send it to you. But I have not forgot about you, man. Not at all. But it's good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. All right. So, like I said, want to respect your time. So, those are the random facts. That's Mike. Mike, let's talk about,
I have noticed that most of the gentlemen popping up in pictures have magnificent beards. It seems to be a thing at your channel.
You know, it's funny. I think beards especially have gotten more popular, obviously, since the pandemic. The beard industry specifically, I'm not going to go off on a rant. I'm actually a beard industry consultant also. And, you know, I only do this with Scott now for the Bearded Coast, but I used to work with a bunch of companies. And it's just been a thing since 2020. And especially taking care of beards. So, yeah.
I'm only allowed to have this much. Like, I can only have here because I have to be able to put a respirator over this and achieve a good fit. Otherwise, they get a little crabby.
Right. All right, here we go. So, moving on from the facts, that's all awesome. And Carl, the best part's that he's a Packers fan. I'm just going to say that. All right, Mike. So I first came across you, I don't know, several months ago at this point. You were doing a show with Jess. It Takes a Village on her show. That's where you and I sort of connected after that. And obviously since then you've had to make a really tough call. You talked about it. You had to suspend your campaign, in April. And I'll let you talk about that to your comfort level, but I think you made a choice that any father would make, right? You had to step away to be there for family. So, first of all, again, to your comfort level, how is she doing? Most importantly. And, how has the support been from your district, since you had to make that decision?
My daughter is doing much better. I mean, she walked out of UW Madison Hospital And definitely all credit to the surgeons at UW. They, saved my daughter's ability to walk. She was in a car accident, hit a piece of debris and rolled her truck. And when we initially got word of this, I was hour and a half north, up in Marquette County. It was the first, April 15th was the first day we could gather signatures. So I was at signing stuff, like getting people's signatures to get on the ballot. And I had just gotten my first signature, and I was driving to the next event, and I got a call from my wife, and it had gone out on the Baraboo scanner that the person, grateful to them for showing up as quickly as they did, but the person misidentified that she was non-responsive. So my wife called me scared. And that was a frightening drive home. Because you're terrified. Like, there's nothing you can do. And you can't get any information because my daughter's an adult. And finally, I managed to reach someone, one of the detectives, who at least confirmed that it was my daughter. But he said, she's responsive. They were incorrect. And she's at UW, and we went, and they said, she broke her back, but she did not damage her spine, and that they had to do surgery, and she was going to recover. And from then on, every time I got news, it was good news. Every time we got good news, it was okay. The surgery went well, she's going to recover, and she'll be able to do everything she was going to do in life. And that is all you can ask for. And they told me it was going to be like 6 months of recovery time. And I just looked and said, I can't keep going. Like, I can't. And it wasn't just that. I figured, there's going to be medical bills. There's going to be tons of bills, and I'm not rich. I have to work for a living, and I'm paid hourly. So if I don't work, it's a problem. And so pretty much since getting out of the hospital, I have been at work pretty much every day. And my daughter's resting comfortably at home. And everyone's like, they're so sorry, and they're so, grateful that she's okay. But I'm just like, you know what? I couldn't ask for a better outcome once the initial bad thing happened, because after that, everything broke right. I mean, it could have been so much worse. And I can't help but be grateful for that. When I realized that this, at the very least, the worst part of it was going to be all the time. I just ended, actually, the signing period, where you can gather signatures to get on the ballot. I was like, even if I somehow decided that I was going to do that, which I make no mistake, right away I was like, no, I'm done. Like, I got into this for my family. I got into this because I thought that I had a responsibility to see us have a representative in Congress who would do good things for my family. And when I had to weigh prospective congressperson versus someone's father is going to win every time. So
absolutely.
There's only so much you can ask your family to sacrifice, and that would have been way beyond what I would have asked. So
Absolutely, and I'm glad she's doing well. I remember you texted me. I don't know if it was. I'm assuming. I'm sure it was not the same day. It was probably a couple days after. But I remember when you texted me, I was like, "Oh man, you were apologizing. Saying, hey, I'm not running anymore. Do you still want to do the show?" And I was like, "Dude, first, don't worry about me. I'm glad your daughter's okay."
I had a lot of time. I was sitting in a hospital. There was literally nothing else to do but respond to everyone who. And by the way, you asked the response of the district. Man, there is no greater pride than realizing that you were trying to represent really good people. Like the sixth, I can't say enough. Like everyone involved, all the other candidates, the first thing they all said was, "Hey, man, anything you need, like just ask." And the funny thing is most of us were in a Facebook group chat and had been for months because we didn't look at each other as adversaries. Like we all wanted very similar things. The differences between us were pretty minute. It just was, that's a moment when you step back and say, I'm no longer running. I'm now just trying to be there for my family. And it was actually really heartening to see all the good, decent people who were like, hey, we're praying for her. We're thinking about her. If there's anything we can do to help, please just let us know. I still have not responded. If anyone is in the chat who is one of the people who did something to help me since then, and if I haven't thanked you personally, please accept my apologies, because I literally could not thank all the people who helped, who did something, even if it was just a good thought.
For sure. You just reminded me about something real quick, not to segue off of that, but on the right side of your screen, there's a chat bubble. If you click that, I usually tell people in the beginning, but if you click that, you'll be able to see the actual YouTube chat and not just what I'm putting on screen. So
sweet. No, I opened it up in another window and I was like, oh, cool. I can actually see it now.
Gotcha. Yeah. So Mike is not ignoring anybody. I failed to tell Mike that's there. So there we go. And one thing that I caught from that, I mean, again, I'm glad your daughter's doing well. Shaq, I see, I'll get that comment.
Thanks,
one second. The candidate that you were running against, and of course now Brad is Glenn Grothman. I know he has been hardcore against, basically fighting against federal healthcare, bills and whatnot. And one thing that I caught from your thing, you say that you work hourly and you have to work. Another problem is that you have to work to maintain the insurance to take care of your daughter. And that is just sad that healthcare is tied to our employment. Imagine people in this type of situation. I don't want you to imagine yourself because you're dealing with enough, but just imagine people in the situation that lose their job because of something like this. And then all of a sudden they have no healthcare. It's horrible.
Health debt is one of the highest, if not the highest, cause of bankruptcies in the United States. Mm-hmm. Like, think about that. That the highest cause of you being unable to just continue to exist in modern society is the fact that we look at your health as a profit center and not just a human right, not just human dignity, or even just smart. Like, everyone who I talk to about universal health care, the people who are against it, the people who really are against it, will say, well, you just expect it to be free. And I say, no, I don't expect it to be free. I expect you to want it to be as inexpensive as possible and to not want people to profit off of it. Because right now, someone else is profiting off of you having worse health care, because them giving you worse health care is more profitable for that insurance company. That's what's good for the insurance company, is you not getting the health care you need, versus if you just cut all of that out, all of the various costly things they do to make sure that you can't get that health care. If you cut that out, you'd have cheaper health care. That's what we in the United States have decided is what we wanted but we really didn't decide. We didn't know there was a better way. We get told that, oh, they get taxed through the nose for that. And I'm like, do you know how much you pay for healthcare?
Yeah.
Legitimately. When I first started at my power plant, when it was the first job I had that actually paid well, like didn't pay like just above minimum wage. When I first started with that company, I think the first year I paid off almost a decade of things I owed to hospitals and whatnot, because that was the only way any of us can pay off those debts. Otherwise, they just keep getting tacked on. Because what average person can afford, like just normal healthcare? It's
Right.
If you're lucky, yeah. And logic, that's normal. That's normal in America, and that is a crime that we have allowed to be perpetuated against us. We have allowed people to profit off of our ill health, when in many cases we could have just gotten the care we needed when we needed it, and it would have been cheaper and it would have been easier to do. And it's one of the earliest things I was for was universal health care. Before anything with my family, I just thought it was a good idea. And now I've had evidence it's a good idea.
I'm actually curious, so I just looked this up while you were talking, because everything you said 100%. So many experts have come out and said that we would save so much money, not only collectively as a country, but as individual taxpayers. We would save so much money by no longer having health insurance premiums, deductibles, copays, all that crap. And paying a little bit more in tax, we still save. I think the average family, they say, would save between $3,000 and $5,000 a year back in their pocket.
Yeah, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. Insurance is cheaper when you have a bigger insured pool. If the insured pool was the entire country, imagine the negotiating power that results from that. And right now, my union is negotiating for a contract. And one of the first things they looked at was, okay, we're going to look at the healthcare and how we're going forward with that. And I mean, I'm lucky that I have decent insurance. I've heard other people talk about their insurance, and I'm like, how do you afford to take your kid to the hospital? I think Brad was talking about he had he has decent insurance too through his wife, and they took their kid to the hospital for an asthma attack, and it was like $4,000. And it's like the average person just doesn't have $4,000 to pull out of their behind and slap down. So you go into debt, and then that has its own problems. This is something that, unless you deal with it, which the average congressperson does not, because they have universal health care. They've got the thing that we all want. And and so they don't have any motivation to change this because it doesn't affect them. And I think we've just been tolerating it for a very long time.
Not only does it not affect them, but let's talk about Glenn Grothman specifically, right? I just did a quick look because I didn't know the answer to this. But according to Open Secrets, Glenn Grothman has received more than $130,000 from political action from PACs associated with the insurance industry over his congressional career. He's raised more than $130,000 more from broader insurance industry, which includes health, fire, and property insurance interest. So $260,000 alone right there that he's raised from insurance companies, basically to say, hey, we don't want you to have universal health care. Please fight that for us.
And this has always been, it is a Republican thing, but it is also people who have been in politics too long thing. When you don't have a great deal of discipline in about where you take money from, the people who have money, the people who want to give you money, if you're not very careful, what they're giving you money for is to do something. And I can almost guarantee you the thing that they're giving you money to do is not in the general public's interest. It just can't be, because they're trying to profit off of them giving you money. And that's a dumb way to do campaign finance. That's just a horrible, corrupting thing to do. But you can easily trace. Open Secrets is one of them. There's a wide variety, actually, of people who are making it easy to see where your congressperson takes money from.
Yep.
I had a real fast and easy rule. I actually put it on Facebook not long ago because someone was asking, did you take any money from PACs and whatnot? And I said, PACs is any group that raises money for politics. Political Action Committee. I was a political action committee. Act Blue is a political action committee. So there's a real easy way to determine whether you should take money from someone. Is it something you'd be proud of? Is it something you'd say, hey, I got money from my union because I support union causes? Am I going to announce that I got that money? If I'm not, I probably shouldn't be taking it. Because if you're not telling the world that I support the same thing these people support and that's why they gave me money, then you're probably being asked to do something that wouldn't be in your constituents' best interest. And that's my fast and easy way to determine if it's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, not all PACs are bad, but a lot are, and it's easy to figure out why those PACs exist and where their money's coming from, where it's going, and why. So, yeah.
There was a doctor. It was basically a bunch of physicians had sent me a questionnaire, and it was right after this all happened, but I was going to fill it out and say, hey, 100%, I agree with you guys. This is a dumb way to do healthcare. I 100% support universal healthcare, and yeah, go ahead and happy to support your cause because that's something I'm publicly saying I want to do, and that's an easy way to. And I don't want to ignore everyone who's asking me questions of Shaquille, I think it was, asked me if
I've got it on screen.
I was going to run again. Shaquille, that will depend on a couple things. One, I ran because I wasn't happy with my representative. I wasn't happy with what he was doing, and I wasn't happy with his behavior legislatively and as a person. So if I am happy with my representative, I'm not going to, let's say Brad wins and he does everything he says he's going to do. I'm happy with him then. I'm happy with what he has said he wants to do. I'm not going to try and replace someone who's doing a good job. Someone asked me why I wouldn't run for state senate or state assembly. And my state senator is my neighbor across the bay, Sarah Kieski. Marie McCarville is my state assemblywoman, and they do great jobs. I don't want to replace them. They're the kind of people I want to keep in politics, not force out. So I wouldn't run against someone who is doing a good job. And by the way, even though I am a very, very firm Democrat, it's not that I was looking at someone and saying, oh, they're a Republican, therefore I automatically hate everything they're doing. It has nothing to do with that. It was literally what his priorities are very obviously directed towards two groups. One of them, Donald Trump, because it's literally whatever he says, Glenn Grothman goes and does. And the other people are the people Ken just listed, which is the people who donated to him. And yeah, you can tell when the bills he sponsors are very often slight tweaks of insurance company rules. You know where you're getting your money from.
Right. Yeah, and unfortunately, Wisconsin has some of the absolute worst representatives in D.C. for us. Glenn Grothman, Fitzpatrick, mine, right? Derek Van Orden. These people have to be replaced. And actually, next week, I have Emily Berge on, who's running against Derek Van Orden. Although you don't see him talking about her much. He's more talking about Rebecca Cook. But
Emily, I have met in person. She's awesome. Yes. Honestly, one of those people who you're like, yeah, you'd be awesome at this job. Yes. And that that was something I was blessed with. When I met the people who were running in my race, pretty much everyone in the 6th CD who was a Democratic candidate, I was looking around and I was like, man, these are all really good people. Like, it's not that I thought any of them would have been a bad congressperson. I looked at Brad and I said, there is very little difference between any of us in terms of what we want to accomplish. I just looked and said, are they accomplishing it? And that's why I looked at Brad's organization, and he did a really good job. Like, I've been in politics for 20 some years. I recognize when someone's doing a good job. And I saw the actual like organization and effort. And that's the kind of thing you can't teach. You can't just get it on the fly. Someone, can't remember who it was. We were discussing politics is like building an airplane as you're flying it, as you're taking off in it. And we were also discussing the Senate, and it was the Senate is like building 2 airplanes. One of them to carry all the money around, and the other one is to actually do the campaigning. And that's the sad thing is with like a senatorial race, it's like millions of dollars. It's not, and I'm not rich. I live in a modest house. I'm not insanely wealthy. I can't just fund my own campaign. I would have to raise money, and that would be a full-time job. And it's slightly less when you're running for Congress, but it's not that much less. It's not like you can just ignore the fundraising portion of it. And so I was really lucky that I had some people donate to me early on. I appreciate all of those people who did. But it is a Citizens United. Someone had mentioned in the chat. Citizens United absolutely should be repealed. It was one of the most corrupting decisions we've ever had in our politics. And it has really been a problem because people with a lot of money figured out that's a way they can buy influence.
Yep.
And they've been buying a lot. Isn't anybody like me? Because they knew I wouldn't take. But
that's literally the only thing Citizens United has proven to be good for is helping the wealthy stay wealthy and get people they want in a position. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad for our country.
And my wife says, so Logic Gal said she has, luckily she has dual citizenship. So luckily she has a plan B if she loses healthcare. My wife says she wishes we had dual citizenship. 100%. We've talked about Greek citizenship many, many, many times. So
it's sad that there are Americans who are having to make that choice. We're supposed to be the richest country in the world, and we have Americans making the choice of, do I need to go somewhere else because I can't afford to live? And that's a choice.
Afford to live, or even just because, imagine it's hard to believe we're in a place where so many people even if we don't need it for medical reasons or healthcare, right? If we just want to have dual citizenship so we can go somewhere else to get away from this madness, right? Because of what this country's turning into. 23 years of my life, I've literally, I joke around and say that I've only had my real adult job now for a couple of years, right? Because when I left the Army in 2022, I had done that since I was 17 years old, right? So now I have my first big boy job, right? And it's so sad to think about the fact that 23 years of my life went that direction, and I'm still now at this point saying, man, I would really love to live somewhere else. It's not the same country that I served for. So,
it is the same country. It's just being run by people who have no respect for that country, for what that country actually stands for. Right. They have this image that country stands for the rich showing off their wealth. And that's not what that country's about. Our country is about people who wanted to help people. Our country is about people being willing to run into burning buildings and save complete strangers because it was the right damn thing to do.
Yep.
That's the image our country had worldwide, and about effective use of the power we were granted. And make no mistake, we were granted an immense amount of power post World War II. And we didn't always use it right. But by and large, and some of this was propaganda, but some of this was real. We tried as a country, as individual people, we tried to use it in a way that we could be proud of when we look back. One of the things that got me was when they just started canceling USAID, which is, it fed millions upon millions of people and kept them from starving to death. But it was also one of the most effective advertisements for America and for American farmers in existence.
Right.
And it kept our food prices low because farmers knew they would always have that baseline, okay, I can sell grain to USAID, and therefore I'm going to have a basic income. There were so many good components to that program that actually helped everyone, no matter where they lived. That was a good thing for us, for people overseas. And they just canceled it because, what is it called? The Chesterton's fence moment, when you tear down a fence that you didn't know why it was there. And then you find out why that fence was there by having the cows trample you. Yeah. And it's we had that in place for a reason. And that reason was part of the soft power that the United States wielded and now does not have. I mean, we are looking at our country being torn down, and it's going to take some time to get anywhere back.
100%.
There's been a lot of people who I've listened to over the years, and some of them are just horrified by the things being done to our country right now. But I want you to really remember that this country is made up of individual people. We didn't lose our national identity. Our national identity was dragged into the mud by other people that in many cases we do not agree with and do not see as doing the right thing. So it's our job to do something about it. And that's why I started running for Congress, because you can't say I'm doing everything I can about it unless you're doing everything you can do about it. And this was something I could do. And I will admit, I didn't see it going this way. I thought I just wouldn't raise enough money, or I thought maybe I would, run out of, if I hadn't been in a union, I wouldn't have had enough time off. I wouldn't have had anywhere close to enough time off. I was having to trade hours with people and be like, hey man, can I trade with you this day? I got to go to a speech here. And I had some very nice people on other shifts who traded hours with me. So thanks, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, talking about all this, right? Some of the problems. Yeah. And I was getting ready to say this: union strong. And if you have a union and you understand the value of the union, think the Democrat Party. So
I just had this talk with some people. They were asking, why do we pay for unions? Why is this good? And I said, $12 an hour. I said, our job in Florida, our exact job, pays $12 an hour less than we get paid. And that's an improvement, mind you. That is a definite step up. It used to be half. We used to get paid what the Florida people get paid now, and they got paid $20 an hour. Yeah. And they've gotten quite a bit of raises, but that's partially because union wages are available, so they can't pay that crappy. So the existence of unions not only helps the union folks, but it also raises everyone else's baseline. And that's just one of the things unions do. And it comes down to being unwilling to accept being told that you've got it good enough. You don't need better. And it's them wanting more profit that they don't need. And for us, it's our life. It's our ability to have a good life and be able to go home and actually spend some time with your kids, or, you know, whatever it is you want to do. And for me, it's being able to spend time with the kids. And I haven't got to do that enough. And I'm looking forward to this outage being over so I can do that some more. We need a vacation.
I hear you. It's one thing that I always think of, and then we'll move on after this. But if anybody has ever, I'm sure a lot of you have already, but just in case nobody's ever researched like what work was like before the unions, research the company store, research that topic, learn about how companies were just screwing employees over with scripts instead of cash in the company store, right? Wages you could only spend at the company store, and homes that were owned by the company and stuff like that. Like they trapped you you had to work there in order to survive. So yeah, unions fixed.
They wanted to own you.
Yeah.
They wanted to own you, and they effectively did before unions. And some of my brothers and sisters died so that we have the weekend, so that we have, you know, the ability to say, hey, that job's unsafe. I'm not going to do that until it's made safe.
So this doesn't exist.
But before I got in a union, I would have been fearful to say that at a job.
Yeah.
Now I tell people, if you're not saying that, you're not doing your job. If you think there's a safety implication, speak up, because it is not, you're going to get fired. You're going to get thanked, because we all want to go home with all of our limbs and fingers intact.
Right. Okay, so let's spend just a few minutes on Glenn Grothman. I had a couple of questions, but I'm going to kind of condense this up into sort of an open-ended, because again, I want to respect your time tonight. So you were running against Glenn Grothman. I don't even know how to say his name. Grothman or Grothman? Which way is it? I know who he is, but obviously.
I think it's Grothman. But to be honest with you, I only met him once. And I've been politically active and living in his district for almost 20 years. Yeah. And I've met him once.
You can't find these guys.
Like, I genuinely don't understand how that happens. I'm out there. Like, I'm actually at some of these, you know, like the church breakfast or you know how I met him? I marched behind him in a parade for Sarah Kiesky's state Senate campaign. I was carrying the American flag and Glenn Grothman was right ahead of me. And I was like, wait, that's my congressman? And someone was like, yeah. He didn't really have anyone, you know, going with him. He's just driving in his car. It was at the Susie the Duck parade.
Nice.
In Lodi, Wisconsin.
Well, let's talk about Glenn Grothman just for a few minutes, right? Glenn Grothman has been in politics. He's been in Washington for over a decade at this point. He's been in politics much longer than that, of course. But, you know, when you talk about stuff, and we've covered a lot of this tonight, wages, healthcare, farmer, you know, things that impact farmers, everything that we know in the state of Wisconsin and across the country, because he's obviously, as a congressman, he affects the entire country. What are some of the problems that you see that face not only Wisconsin, or that Wisconsinites face, but also the entire country because of Glenn? And, you know, it's funny, just to add in here real quick, that Donald Trump was apparently in Wisconsin today, talking to farmers.
I saw that.
I think up in Chippewa Falls, I think. Anyway, I haven't seen what he said or whatever, but
that had to be an interesting. I actually I'll look that up afterwards, because I want to see what he had to say. Because
I have to go find the sound bites. Yeah.
That had to be an interesting conversation. Hey guys, I just totally put you all into bankruptcy, but still support me, okay?
Right. So I mean, that along with, and go ahead, that along with everything else that Glenn Grothman has done over the last 10 years, you know, where do we go from here, right? Obviously, Brad is running. What are the big differences, and what do we do to fix what Glenn Grothman has broken?
So, I mean, at the very basic level, vote in representatives who are actually going to represent you. I I am going to vote for Brad because I believe he has the ability to get there, and once there, has the motivation to actually change things for the better for the average person, not for rich donors. And I don't have a problem with people being rich. I have a problem with people who look at rich as a right that only they have, and screw those other people.
Right.
And the intelligent people, the people who actually worked for a living and earned their riches, will always tell you that your neighbor being wealthy, your neighbor having more money, is always a good thing, because then they're going to spend money at your business. Then they're going to not be in a situation where they're desperate because they don't have any money. You want your neighbor to be better off. And that is the thing that, I don't know, man, in this country, it's like the really ultra wealthy caught a disease where they just suddenly couldn't ever have enough, and didn't realize that everyone else having enough to live was actually a requirement, not just a fun little thing that they could say they did. And we're getting to the point where the disparity in wealth is getting so great that the people who aren't in the 400 richest people in the United States, everyone else, no matter how wealthy you are, you're feeling what's happening right now. Like there were a lot of people driving into my power plant, and they're all riding on motorcycles, and I'm like, gas prices, huh? And they're like, oh no, I just wanted to bring my motorcycle out, and then one of them was like, yeah, it's a lot easier than driving a truck, because I mean, we're all feeling this when you're. So something that always stuck with me was tariff is a tax that more affects people the poorer they are, because it's a tax on consumption. So if I want to tax that, imagine if the governor of Wisconsin had said, I'm going to put a 40% sales tax on this product because it'll be good. It'll make, more goods be produced in Wisconsin for that thing. People would have rioted. And that was effectively what tariffs was a sales tax that, instead of being tacked to someone's income, was tacked to how much they spend. But that, on a percentile basis, we all spend around the same. Like, there's only so much gas you can buy. There's only so much things you can buy before it's just, you don't need it. So you and I, that's a pretty big part of our budget. When I had someone who disbelieved something I said back then, and now it is even worse. But I said that between last year and this year, when I was looking at my grocery bill, it doubled. It doubled for almost everything. Like, I'm not talking expensive stuff. I'm talking normal things. It doubled. That is catastrophic for the average person. Mm-hmm. And this is the kind of thing where, when you aren't thinking about the average person and how this affects them, when you aren't caring about that, you aren't going to base what you make laws on about that. You aren't going to do anything to make sure those people can get by. And when I met Brad, I was struck by the fact that he was just an ordinary dude. Like, he was a guy. And one of the nice things is, we went to all of the people that I was running with, I got a chance to get to know. And I would have been pleased to vote for any of them. But one thing that really stood out was the fact that they all understood that if your neighbor isn't doing well, it's a problem for you, because they're part of your community. They're part of your life, whether you like it or not. And that is the thing that stood out, was an understanding of when the average person does better, we all do better. There is no one in this chat or who's on Facebook who isn't going to benefit from having a progressive Democrat in Congress, because we all are affected by those laws that are being passed. And right now they're being passed to benefit a class of people that don't care if we get by. They just don't. And yeah, thank you, Barry. That is a much shorter way to say what I just said. But
that's one of my favorite quotes.
Because you don't have to be like some person who believes in everyone has to be equal in order to realize the logic of when you let someone fall through the cracks that badly, and we're all falling through those cracks. It's a problem as a society and as a country. When we're all desperate, people start doing stupid, desperate things. We don't want that. We want our neighbors to do well, to have a good life.
Yeah, so let's talk about Brad just for a few minutes. I'm going to look at my notes that I have on Brad because, so Brad grew up on a family farm. He is it's a National Guard veteran, I think. Yeah, National Guard, Wisconsin National Guard veteran. Let's see what else. Just the stuff that I found on Brad, his platform, which I'm going to let you kind of give your spiel on. The biggest thing that I see in this is that, and I know people are really going to love and respect, is that he has made it a point of not taking, we talked about PACs earlier, he's made it a point of not taking corporate PAC or APAC money specifically. Nothing from there, running purely on grassroots donations. So, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes or however long you want to speak. Again, I want to respect your time. What is it about Brad when you decided that you had to step down from this, that made you say, you know what, I'm going to endorse Brad?
There are only 2 people left right now, Amanda and Brad. And by the way, Amanda, wonderful person. If she ended up somehow winning the primary, I'd vote for her in a heartbeat. She's a great girl. I cannot say enough about her. I was impressed by the job Brad was doing in organizing. We all were for somewhat similar platforms. Like, we all wanted to see some version of universal health care. We all want to see people have more affordable, easy lives. We all want to see our country regain its position in the world where we are a source of good and not a source of shame. That's something that we all can agree on, and I don't see much difference. What I saw Brad do was the job, was get out there and actually talk to people, and talk to people who may not agree with him. And we had a long talk about this after we met with some of my union brethren. I think in 24, people saw Democrats going out and talking to Republicans and thought that meant that we were selling them out, that we were saying different things than we would say with them. And I understand, if you don't know your politicians, if you don't know the people in this case, you might think that. And I've always tried to say, we're not trying to do anything different, but if you don't talk to the people who didn't vote for you last time and try and say, hey, I think my way of doing things would be better. Here's why. Here's what I want to do. And just get them to know you, then the results are going to be the same. And I don't care how noble and worthwhile you are. If you're not in Congress to cast votes, then it doesn't really matter what you say. You're not going to change anything. Right. And I see Brad doing the work to get in that Congress and actually cast those votes to better our lives. And that is something I always have been impressed with politicians. Tammy Baldwin does this really well. She gets out and talks to people. Barack Obama, when he was running, did this really well. He got out and talked to people. You can't, Pete Buttigieg is a really good person for this right now. He will get out and actually talk to the people and won't just back down from what he believes. And that's what I saw in Brad. He was willing to go to audiences that might not be friendly, but they might be willing to listen and might be willing to say, hey, maybe we should try something different. We've been in Wisconsin, we've had Republican representation by and large, other than Milwaukee and Madison. We've had Republican representation for most of my adult life. And people complain all the time about the government. And it's like, the government is Republicans. So if you don't like what they're doing, maybe do something different. Here's what we want to do. This is what we'd like to change. And these things work out well. When you ever notice how whenever we have a depression, or a recession, it's followed by Democrats being voted in? It's because we always have to clean up the mess.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, we look like we're headed for that again. Like now, we look like we're headed for a definitive downturn. And for the people who are like, oh, the stock market's better than ever. The stock market's not the economy. The stock market is basically loans to businesses and how much they're valued at. And that is populated by a bunch of people who are thinking, oh, this is just going to blow over. This is going to be fine. And it ain't looking like it's fine. And the people at the bottom end are spending into their credit cards trying to remain afloat. And that's behavior that you can measure and see.
Yeah.
That's things you can see and say, we're headed for a pretty big problem in this country. And we need to start getting some people into office who can actually do something about it. Because if we have the same people who we've had for the last, few years, it's not going to be good. And I don't mean to be grim about that, but I want to see someone like Brad who's willing to put in the work to represent me versus someone like Glenn Grothman who I didn't even know anything he was for until I had to dig into him. And everything I found was, oh, that's not good. That's not good at all.
Yeah. Well, this is what drives me crazy about the whole conversation, right? Everybody can see what's going on. And real quick, on the flip side of what you said a second ago, the reason that Democrats have to clean things up is because most, if not all, I don't want to say all because I'm not sure if that's accurate, but most, if not all, recessions and depressions have happened under Republicans. It's just a fact. It's very verifiable. If people take the time to research.
It's generally because of the same things. We get into a situation where they're able to convince the American people for one reason or another that there's a problem that only they can solve. It's not generally economics. It's something else. The caravans from the southern border are coming to take your jobs. And it's like, really? Sure about that. But they'll say that with straight faces. People will buy it. And then they'll get into office, and every single time, we need to cut these regulations because they're bad for businesses, without asking why those regulations were there in the first place, without asking, were those regulations there to keep us from having massive downturns that cost people their retirements or their livelihoods. And we're seeing that right now. That kind of regulation cutting and corner cutting, and not really caring if what they're doing on a foreign policy basis is having effects at home.
Right.
And when you don't take into account anything like that. And by the way, this is actually really important. People discount the fact that people just say, oh, it's all Trump. It's all Trump. It's his fault. Trump doesn't have the power to declare war. This happened under a Congress that let him. This happened under a Senate that let him.
Mhm.
These Republican congressional people and senators are letting him do these things to our country, and in many cases are cheering him on. I think Glenn Grothman and I would agree that he is one of Trump's biggest cheerleaders. I think he'd actually agree with that. I don't think he'd have a problem with me saying that.
Oh, have you seen
So
his doors? Have you seen his office doors in DC?
I have not, because I cannot afford a flight out there.
No, me either. But I've just seen there's a journalist here in Wisconsin that was in DC. I'll send you the video. I forget her name has slipped my mind right now. On one side of his door, he's got an Israeli flag. He's got the U.S. flag there too, to be fair, but he's got an Israeli flag hanging on the wall. On the other side is a picture of the shot from Butler, PA, when Donald Trump and the Secret Service rushed up after, the shot was taken, where he's, fight. He's got that picture hanging above his nameplate, and below it, a picture of Charlie Kirk, right? That's what he has hanging outside of his office doors. So where are his priorities? That's what he cares about. That's what he hung right there by his nameplate outside of his door.
And that's who he's trying to advocate for.
Yeah.
That's who he's trying to do things for. And it's not you. He doesn't have a picture of you hanging up there. He doesn't have a picture of me. He doesn't have a picture of you. He doesn't have a picture of anyone else other than our current billionaire president and Charlie Kirk. Like, that's who he wants to see be the priority in America.
Or how about on the other side, instead of the Israeli flag, maybe a Wisconsin flag or a picture of Wisconsin next to the U.S. flag? How about Wisconsin? Right?
Yeah, I legitimately sometimes have to pinch myself to remind myself that these guys are getting away with behavior that in any other time period would have been an instant non-starter. People would have looked at that and said, "What are you doing? And why are you looking at us as the least important thing? We have to vote you in on a daily basis." They think that one of the first videos I made about this campaign was Glenn Grothman thinks he's safe. He thinks there is nothing he could do that would lose you the vote. He thinks he doesn't have to care. And I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, or anything in between. You cannot let your politicians believe that their votes and their behavior will have no consequences. If I had gotten into office, if Brad Smith gets into office and he starts acting like, say, John Fetterman, he would right now, I guarantee you, he would be the first person to say, "Vote me out." Because you need to have that power. You need to be the boss in that relationship. You need to have the power to say, "I can vote this person out of office," because if you don't, they will start making decisions like you see on display right now.
Yep. And this is why we have to, I've been in contact with Brad's campaign. I'm going to probably set up a special stream day and time to have him on before the primary. Because I don't have any more slots before the Wisconsin primary, which for those that don't know, it's August 11th. I think it's the 11th. So I'm going to try to get him on, on a special, maybe a Sunday afternoon or I don't know. We got to work that out. But, anyway, yeah. Grothman, and in my case, I can't vote for any of you guys because I don't live in your district. But Fitzgerald's got to go. Grothman needs to go. Van Orden needs to go. Yeah,
all these guys would not have been in office in any other time period because even their own voters would have said, "Hey, you're not acting in our interests." Even if they agreed with everything they were doing, they wouldn't have agreed with how they did it. They wouldn't have agreed with them supporting other countries more than our own. Like, when other countries more than our own are your priority, and those countries are not, acting in a way that is good for our country, I got to ask, where did those American First guys go? Because I don't see them right now. I don't see them making good decisions for our country.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, America First was always bullshit. Their
It
idea of
was.
America First, right?
It was, but at least they could say, "Hey, this is what I'm for." And I can respect a person who will tell you what they're for and run on it. I can't respect someone who literally is just giving lip service to their own ideals and then not doing it.
Right.
And doing things only for the people who donated to them. I can't respect that. And I
Yep.
do not hold to that to represent me in Congress. And that's why I'm very much looking forward to seeing Brad on the ballot, and why I'm looking forward to see him kick Glenn Grothman to the curb, because it is damn well time that we have someone in that office who you can be proud of seeing in that office, and be aware that they are going to actually do a job for you and not whoever vote donated to them.
Yep. I'll end with this because I know you have to get up early in the morning.
4 a.m. baby.
Yeah, it's definitely time to get you out of here. So, I mean, Congress, Congress, the House and the Senate and the Supreme Court have forgotten what separation of powers is. They've forgotten that they are a separate branch from the executive. They don't work for the president, but they have forgotten that. And I would say the same thing if it was Democrats acting as Republicans are acting right now. For anybody that sees this and thinks, "Oh, you just hate Donald Trump." No, I hate any Let me back up. I don't hate. I dislike any politician that forgets who they work for, who forgets what their role is in this 3-tiered government, right? Separation of powers is supposed to be a thing. They're supposed to keep the president in check. The Supreme Court's supposed to keep everybody in check. That's how it's supposed to work. And that doesn't happen anymore because just like Washington begged against with his farewell address, because he saw this two-party system becoming a sports team fanfare type thing. And this is where we are now. They have forgotten that they represent us and that they don't work for the president. And that's because of guys like Grothman, like Fitzgerald, like Van Orden. They forgot who they work for. They forgot who put them there to work for us. There's no longer a three-party. There's no longer there's no longer checks and balance. There's no longer a 3-tiered government at this point. And we have to get back to that. And again, I would say that if we were under a Republican-controlled House, Senate, and White House, I would say the same thing. So that's where we are.
It unfortunately is. It's causing real harm to our country, and it's harm that is not going to be easily rolled back. And I don't lie to people. I didn't lie to people when I told them that, I'm going to do everything I can if I were to get into office. For when Brad gets into office, I'm sure he will do everything he can to affect things. But until you have a president who's more concerned about, the country than his rich buddies, until we have a Senate and House that are actually, more concerned about being responsive to their voters than their donors, there's not a whole ton that can be done. There are some things, and we're having to become more creative about what you do. I know a lot of people in the House were talking about how we have subpoena ability. Like we can basically bring people in for hearings, and they're like, well, why don't you vote and call it? Like, let's say we get control of the House, and let's say we even get control of the Senate, although that's looking like a much sharper line. It might be 1 or 2 votes. Right. Let's say we get control of both of those. Do you think we're going to have enough senators that we can override a veto? Because I don't think that's mathematically possible at this point.
Yeah,
I don't think there's enough.
Yeah.
I don't think that there. I don't even think there's that many senators who could be changed that it would be possible to get more than a simple majority. Which means for at least the next 2 years, it's going to be Donald Trump who's at least able to stop us from doing things. And I want everyone to be aware of that when they vote people into office. This is not something we can fix quickly. We have pushed this country pretty far down the brink we're going to have to work at it for a while to bring it back, but we got to start. We're worth it. This country's worth it. I mean, all those people out there who supported me when I just went from being a politician to being a person, to being a guy who was, sitting there worried about his kid. Those people reaching out to me more than ever made me realize, damn, like, we deserve better than this, because there are some damn good people out there who were amazing to me, and I can't thank them enough. But we deserve better than we've been getting in terms of our representation. And we want it different. We have to go out and get it. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I invite all of you to do, is go out, support the politicians who actually seem like they're going to help you. Brad Smith is one of them. But don't limit it to just him. Support them all across the country. They're out there. They're doing the work. Two of the I've talked to Bernard Taylor. I've talked to some of the other people you had on your guest list coming up. Emily Berg is awesome. Like, these are people who will do the job and make you proud of what they do and what they stand for. And I'd like to see those kind of people in office again.
What's up, Shane? Good to see you, brother. Liquid Shano. I don't know if you're following. Don't know if you're following them on TikTok. Him and Ben do a show on YouTube also. It's called "We're Not Like Them." It's kind of a play on, we're all kind of MAGA passing looking guys, but we're not like them.
It gets me into a lot of doors. I will tell you right now. My kids once, as a way of giving me a little jab, said I have resting Republican face, and I was like, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. People assume, like, people. One of the people running in your district against Fitzgerald, one of the wives, I can't remember who it was, but his wife said to me, "I thought you were a Republican based on your picture." And I was like, did I not say I was running for a Democratic Party on there? I don't know if I did. I just assumed people thought I was, because, I'm for universal health care. I'm for all these things. But I guess they saw just my face and were like, oh, he must be a Republican because he's a, 40-something white dude. And it's like, no, we're smarter than that. Like, that we understand what Republican has meant for Republicans. It's not even a good idea for them. Yeah. It's not a good idea for anyone right now.
And Mike, that is what frustrates the hell out of me, because everybody sees when you go to the grocery store, when you go to the gas station, when you pay your medical bills, when you pay your utility bills, and so many more things that I could keep going and going. Everybody sees the dang problems that we have right now, but they ignore it or excuse it just to support this one man. And that drives me up the wall. Let's get real. Anyway.
You're preaching to the choir boy from 20 years ago. I saw this crap. I saw this happening in real time. And I said, I was still active when Donald Trump was first coming up. I still got out and volunteered. I just didn't do it, 60 hours a week. But I saw the way we were going, and it was always, Shano, it really is. Like, the actual Republican Party on the ground, when Glenn, and this was years ago, when Glenn Grothman was marching, he wasn't marching, he was in his car, but there was no volunteers there, not one. And we had, 20? And he's a congressman, and I was in a state Senate campaign, and we had a ton of people marching in that, parade. And I just realized that none of these people actually are doing anything other than voting for it because it says R next to their name. They're not seeing what they're doing to them. And that's why I'm trying to, one of the reasons why I'm trying to really get out and say, we have got to stop letting people just not hear what message we're bringing because in the past they haven't supported us. I've told people, look how many union folks vote Republican. Look how many religious folks vote for the guy who's currently like practically at a verbal war with the Pope. Like, look how many farmers vote for a guy who is driving them to bankruptcy at an increasing rate. We have opportunities right now to actually reach out to constituencies that haven't looked at Democrats in decades, in my entire life. This is our path forward, is don't change what we're for. Don't change who we are, but change the fact that we cannot ignore anyone. We have to talk to everyone and say, this is the way out of this situation. We need to start actually representing the people in this country. And to do that, we have to represent everyone. The economic populism that is going on in the Democratic Party is our way forward. It just is.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm going to work to get Brad on the show so we can talk more about that. I'm going to share this real quick. So where to find Brad. And I'm sharing Brad's info here because once again, Mike was running is not Brad is who he has endorsed. And I've looked into Brad and what I've seen so far. I'm impressed with Brad myself, but I want to sit down and talk to him. We've been talking. So we're probably going to come up with a show that's on a special day and time just to get him on before the primary. But this is where you can find Brad, and I'm looking forward to having him on the show at some point, after this. So, Mike, I'm going to give you he seems like it. I love what I've seen on social media. Yeah.
I've been running with all of these guys for like almost a year and a half now. And I've met him, his family, his kids, and his wife, and they are really good people. Like, that alone would have been a good key, a good determining factor, but it also was he's doing the work. And you don't always see politicians do the work. Like, they just expect it to be given to them. They just expect to raise some money and someone will come along and do the work for him. He's out there doing the work. And that ultimately was what made me go, yeah, I can support this guy. It isn't just because he's a decent guy. It's also because he's willing to get out there and do the work.
Right. Well, Mike, final words from you so we can get you. You got to get some sleep, man. Final minute, 2 minutes, whatever you want to take. Final words, all you.
Right now in this country, we are seeing a lot of things that are making us just in disbelief of the way our country is going and the things that are being done to our country by people that we maybe didn't support, but other people did. And we have to realize that we have an opportunity to change the path our country's on. But it's like a big old ship. It's going to take time. And it's going to take a lot of work. We are going to have to all get at that wheel and pull hard because otherwise we're not going to turn this ship. And we live here. Every time someone says, it really doesn't affect me. Not many people can say that anymore. You cannot say that when your gas bill has doubled, when your grocery bill has more than doubled. You cannot say that anymore. There is no one this doesn't affect. There is no one who is not negatively affected by the things that are being done to you right now. So I want you to realize that, yeah, maybe you can't go out and do all the things that someone like me is doing because you either don't have the time or you don't have the knowledge of how to do it. That's okay. But there are things you can do. There are people you can help support who are willing to get up in front of that microphone for you. I was one of those people who was willing to get up in front of that microphone, who was willing to drive sometimes 5-6 hours in a day, every day, because I thought it was the right thing to do. You find those people willing to put in the work, you give them your support, if you have any spare money, shoot them some money. You want to be the people they look at as their boss. You want to be the person that they look at as who's important. And you want it to be an average person, because when we actually try to support the average person, our country as a whole is raised up. Our country as a whole. I love the raising the tide, lifts all boats. That is how it works. This isn't what we wish things worked like. This is how it actually works. You want to change things in this country? You want to see this country ran better? It's up to you. It's up to us. And you will never see me avoid that responsibility ever. And all I'm asking is, whatever you can do, if you have the means to act, you have the responsibility to act. And we have means. All of us do. It's time to act. It's time to get out there and see this country change for the better. And hey, you all have a really good night. Ken, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I'm going to end with, and that's also what our founders wanted, was the average Joe in these positions, not the elite. That's why we got away from Britain, to get away from the elite. There's a lot more to that. Mike, I appreciate your time. Please, from my family to yours, send our love and our best. Thanks for taking the time tonight. Thanks, we appreciate you.
Thank you. And thank you for getting out there and using your platform for showcasing people, because this is the only way that someone who isn't taking all that money is going to be able to be viewed, is going to be able to be seen without paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to put TV ads on.
Yeah.
And that is what the power of this kind of thing is. We have the tools at hand. Like, we have the ability to. I want to see all of us get out there and really put it to it, because we have so little time to get this done if we want to see our country come back.
Yeah.
And hey, everyone who was in the chat tonight and in the comments, and I really appreciate you all coming on. And hey, we're not stopping, and you don't either.
Absolutely. Mike, don't work too hard tomorrow. I appreciate you once again, man.
Thanks much. Y'all have a good night.
Yep, you too. All right. What a great chat with Mike. I'm looking forward to seeing Brad. I want to get to know more about Brad. When we first set this show up, absolutely, Barry. And this is something that I'm learning. There's so many like-minded people in the state of Wisconsin that you don't see them on social media, right? Like, we're in the social media realm, and we see like the worst of the worst. But they do exist, not only in Wisconsin, but in every state across this country. So one thing that I was going to add to what Mike ended with there about these grassroots candidates and trying to make this change, I've seen people who do what I do, who do what we do. Some of you in the chat do this. And I've seen people that are charging these grassroots candidates to come on their show and talk, charging them. We're talking about asking these candidates to not take corporate PAC money and not take this money for their campaign. But then at the same time, we talk about how important that is, but then there are creators that want to charge them to come on their platform. And I will never, ever, ever do that. I think that is absolutely gross. I just thought of that when he was talking in the end. I don't want to keep him any longer, but yeah, anyway. Not a single candidate pays to come on this platform, and that will never be a thing. Will never be a thing. Shane, I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, Mike, and I've heard Mike speak before. He is a very, very good man, I believe. So, yeah. We will get, isn't it, Shane? It is so greasy. So greasy. Yeah. All right. Oh, Mike, look, that would have never even been a thing here. Like, that will never, ever be a thing. If this YouTube channel blows up to, whatever, 10,000, 100,000 followers, my promise to everybody today is that will still not be a thing. I'm not going to charge to have somebody sit and have an hour-long conversation. I think it's ridiculous. I'll let YouTube ad revenue take care of that, right? That's how that works. All right, so hey, we have a few more things to cover before we go tonight. I do have a rant, and this rant, I'm going to try to keep it short because we are here, and then we have a couple of giveaways. So we are still going to do those. Do me a favor, while we're doing this, if you have not yet, share this out to your favorite social media platform. Let people know we're live. Invite people in. Now, Scott, I may do this. I may take, can you see my one back there? I may take payment in cheese hats. We may do that. But I'll never ask a candidate for money. But if you want to send a cheese hat, we'll do that. We'll do the cheese head. All right. So, hey, again, share it out. Share it out. And brats, 100%. I'm a sucker for a good bratwurst. So share it out. Let people know we're still live. Not going to be here too much longer, but I do have a rant, and then we have a couple of giveaways. And even after the show, do me a favor and just just share and let people know that we're here every Tuesday. Once again, every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, we are live here on YouTube. Oh, not yet, Dynamite. Not yet, brother. Not yet. Every Tuesday at 9 p.m. There is going to be a break because we're going to be away. That'll be after next week, but I'll talk more about that later on. All right. So I have a rant tonight. Oh, and Scott, tonight's rant, I did a video on TikTok about this, and this is usually where my rants come from, is from TikTok. And that's where this one's definitely from tonight. So let's get into that. So I'm not keeping y'all up way too late. Oh, Dynamite, this one's going to be one. All right, here we go.
What the is this world? What have they done to us? What did they do to us?
All right, I was making sure my video wasn't playing yet. I'm going to warn you before I get into this rant that there is going to be some cursing. So if you have kids around and you don't want them to hear that cursing, first of all, I respect that. If you do want them to hear it, I respect that too. Totally. I don't tell anybody how to raise their kids, but I want to give you the warning that there's going to be some cursing in this. You see right here, today's June 2nd, and every year, just like every year when Pride Month starts, we have the same. You guys have your kids, if you want your kids to not hear this, hopefully they're in bed already. But Scott, every year at this time, the assholes come out in force on social media and start talking about how, well, this is not Pride Month. This is Veterans Month. This is not Pride Month. This is Veterans Month. No, asshole. That was last month. That was May. Did you say anything in May about veterans, about active duty military? Did you think a veteran in May at all? And to be clear, I don't need anybody's appreciation. Like, that's not why I'm here. If nobody ever thanked me for being a veteran, I would be completely okay with that. And I'm absolutely not asking for that in the chat. Respectfully, please don't even put that in the chat, because that's not what I'm talking about this for. Love each and every one of you, but that's just not where we are right now. The same assholes come out every June 1st, and it's like clockwork. You can predict it. This is not Pride Month. Why do the LGBTQIA plus community, why do they need a whole month? Let's give the veterans a month. The veterans get so many days of recognition throughout the year, so many months, so many, right? So I'm going to first play the video that I put on TikTok. Again, this is where most of the cursing, although there's probably going to be more cursing for me. Here's a video that I put on TikTok because I've already answered one. I've got a few more. It's something that I'm going to be talking about, because stop using my service and other veteran service to propagate the hate that you have for the LGBTQIA plus community. Just stop. Don't use my service in that way. All right, let me play this video, because this is what led to this rant, so here we go. Oh, look, it's that time of year again when the bigots come out and pretend to give a shit about veterans in the month of June, when they forget that May is actually Military Appreciation Month. Let me ask you a question. Did you post anything in the month of May? Say anything in the month of May about veterans? And don't get me wrong, I don't want your appreciation, because I don't need appreciation from fucking bigots who only use us for their talking points when they need to talk about politics and just shit on people in the LGBTQIA plus community. So fuck your appreciation. June is Pride Month, and coming from a veteran who served 23 years, you can get all the way fucked. Hope this helps. That's one of my favorite things to say after I curse somebody out. Hope this helps. Listen, there seem to be so many people out there around June that don't realize that May was Military Appreciation Month. It comes up again in November. I think April is like month of the military child. There are so many appreciation time periods throughout the year for veterans. The only reason that any of these people say anything on June 1st is because they want to hate people. That's the only reason why. They're so bothered by the fact that somebody loves somebody else. A man loves another man. A woman loves another woman. They're so bothered by the fact that somebody is transgender and just wants to be who they are, or who they want to be their authentic selves, that they will use veterans and military to be hateful. And that pisses me off so freaking much. Just shut the fuck up all the way. Just stop. It drives me crazy every single year. And yeah, most veterans that I personally will associate with that are not oath-breaking pieces of shit pretty much agree with that same thing. Like, stop. We're not here to be your scapegoats for hate. I don't know if that's the right way to say that. We're not here to be for your hate. It's crazy. Yeah, and then you have states like Tennessee, and I saw Indiana yesterday that have declared Nuclear Family Month for June to take away from Pride Month. 100%, Scott. Tennessee did it, so Bill Lee, the governor of Tennessee, he put out this dumbass proclamation, and Mike Braun, the governor of Indiana, put out his dumbass proclamation that June is the month of the nuclear family. Nuclear Family Month. Listen, there is nothing wrong with a nuclear family. I happen to be part of a nuclear family. My wife and I, kids, we have what people consider and what is a standard nuclear family. Nothing wrong with that. But that also doesn't mean that LGBTQIA plus community who have families, it doesn't mean their families are any less. And these asshole governors who do stuff like this, I was so busy today I was not able to make a video. I'm looking at my wife's comment. I'm not sure. Babe, I may have missed something. Not part of the way. Oh, on what I said a second ago. Yeah. All the fuck the way up. These governors that do this are doing it simply out of hate. And it's because we have a Republican Party and a president that hate is so emboldened that these governors are just okay with doing this, right? There's nothing wrong with nuclear family. But don't use that to hate on other families that are not considered the traditional family. Like, what is traditional? What is normal anyway? Right? Just stop. What these governors need to focus on is, why is the nuclear family so broken? Why are 87% of DV offenders men? Why are 97% of people that have been unalived in a nuclear family, why are they men? Why is the divorce rate in Indiana, and I'm not hating on divorce, but why is the divorce rate in Indiana in nuclear families? It's 660,000 of people in Indiana are divorced. Why don't you all address the problems with the nuclear family and the problems with men who don't treat their families right before you start hating people under the guise of Nuclear Family Month? Why don't you fix the problems with nuclear families before you start in on this kind of stuff? Why don't you focus on the fact, Indiana, and Scott, I didn't look into Tennessee stats on this. I came across Mike Braun's thing yesterday from Indiana, so I looked into this. Mike Braun, why don't you look into the fact why children in the year 2024, I think the number was 64 children in the state of Indiana were unalived in their house, literally killed by their parents in nuclear families. And guess what, Bill Lee? Guess what, Mike Braun? Those numbers in what you all consider non-traditional families, non-nuclear families, LGBTQIA community families, guess what? Those numbers are so much lower. So much lower. Why is that? I don't know. That's just me asking a question out loud. I don't know why that is. Other than the fact that for some reason we don't focus on the fact that men can commit, again, 80 to 90, 97% of the family crimes in these nuclear families. Why don't you all fix that? Fix that. The hate is just to avoid talking about straight up LBJ right there, right? The hate is just to avoid talking about their hand in your pocket, taking your paycheck. LBJ said, if you can convince, what's the actual quote? I don't want to mess this up. If you can convince the lowest white man that the black man has, I'm going to mess this quote up and I don't want to. Basically what he was saying, if you can convince the poorest white man that his problems are there because of people that don't look like him, then they can just keep taking money. And that's how politicians take our money, is that they make people think that their problems are because of other people that don't look like them. In the case of this, it's because people that don't love like we do, they're the reason for the problems, right? So they can just keep taking money. Absolutely, Mike. Yep. So that's my rant for tonight. Worcester, Mass is a trans sanctuary city, openly lesbian governor, and Provincetown. I love my state. A party built on hatred. Absolutely. Yeah, so that's my rant for tonight. Just as a veteran, and again, this comes up every single freaking year. If you're going to talk about June should be Military Appreciation Month, shut the fuck up, because that was May, and you didn't make a single video, by the way. Not that I need you to, but you didn't make a single video then. You obviously just hate people, and talking about veterans is your nice way of being able to use us as the reason for your hate. Shut the fuck up. That's my rant for tonight. Right, Shane? Including P3DOs, you don't hear a lot of LGBTQIA stories like that. They should start to look inward. Yeah, all of this stuff comes from the nuclear family. All this stuff comes from white men. And I'm a white man. Like, I get it, right? But all of these problems, most of the problems start with white men. That's what they need to look into. That's what they need to look inward at. Focus on fixing those problems instead of this whole nuclear family month BS. That's my rant. Of course, let me know in the comments what you think. Although I'm sure that everybody that's here, we're pretty much probably on the same page. Yeah. Oh, thank you. There's the actual quote. I knew I was not going to get that right. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking it. And this is a quote. This is not us using the word colored. This is LBJ's quote. He won't notice you're picking his pocket. He'll give him someone to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. That's the actual quote from LBJ. So, and Republican politicians still believe like this and still act like this and still divide us on this principle. This has not changed. This has not changed. And I was raised by a family that believed this way. There's a reason why I didn't talk to my mother I'm going to get too personal. There's a reason I didn't talk to my mother from the time that I joined the Army at 17 years old, to get away from that environment. There's a reason that I haven't talked to my dad in 3, almost 4 years. And that's because this is actually the bullshit that I came from. Somehow at 7, 8, 9 years old, like, I knew that this was not right. And this is why I don't talk to my family. Do I hope that can be fixed someday? 100%. But I'm not going to subject my kids to people who openly hate the way that these people do. I'm not going to subject myself even to people that hate this way in my own family. It's not going to happen. I'll leave that right there. I'll leave that there because I don't want to get too personal. It's so toxic. Absolutely toxic, and I refuse to be around that. Refuse to be around it. All right, hey Mike, thanks again, man. Have a good night. We'll be talking more, I'm sure. Yeah, so toxic, and I refuse to have my family around that. I'm not going to do it. All right, you all. So let's do a couple of giveaways. There are a couple of you still hanging out here, so let's do these giveaways. Hey, the odds are good. The odds are really good. So let's do a couple of these, and then we will close out for the night.
Are you ready? No, I said, are you ready?
All right, here we go. So tonight, oh, you know what? I didn't even show you. Let me show you the right slides. Tonight's giveaways, we have, number one, we have a $25 gift card and your choice of a t-shirt from the Bearded Coast Grooming Company. Pretty much the standard giveaway we do every week. So this is one of the shirts. This is just an example shirt. But Scott has other shirts also. Scott's idea or Scott's take on this is that whatever shirt you would like, whatever t-shirt you would like from his merch, he is completely cool with it. So whoever wins this giveaway, what I'll need from you is shipping information, what shirt you would like, what color, what size, and then your email address for the gift card, right? That's what I'll need for this one. And whoever wins, we can talk after. And I'll make sure that if you don't already know, you know how to get in touch with me. And we're doing one more giveaway tonight because I just felt generous today. That's going to be a $30 gift card to my merch store. So shop.kensconsin.com, $30 gift card to the Kensconsin merch store. We'll be giving away tonight also. I've got the gift card created already. Whoever wins this, I just need your email address so I can send you the gift card. And that's going to be our second giveaway. So if you want to get in on this giveaway, in the chat, hashtag Mike will get you entered in honor of our guest tonight. Now, here's how I'm going to do this one. We only have to go through this one time. So if you put in hashtag Mike, get you entered into the giveaway, then that entry will be there, right? So I'm going to roll the same one twice. The first person that wins, I'm going to let you pick whether you want the Bearded Coast giveaway or the merch store gift card, right? Whoever wins, whoever the first one is, you choose your giveaway. I'll just need you to let me know in the chat which one you would like. And then we will roll for the second one. So that's how we'll do that giveaway tonight. I want to see how that works. So hashtag Mike in the comments. We'll get you entered. I'll give you guys just a minute to get that in if you want to enter. Before we actually roll, I want to point out next week we have on Emily Berge, who is running for Wisconsin's 3rd Congressional District to unseat Derek Van Orden. So I'm looking forward to talking to her next week. That's going to be awesome. And that'll be our last show for a couple of weeks. Let me go back here real quick. So once again, hashtag Mike. That'll be there'll be a break after. So let me go here and see if I get this right. Okay. So June 9th, Emily Berge will be on. And then we don't have another show until June 30th because we are going to be on vacation. We'll be out and away. Decided it's just, on a family vacation, didn't want to take all the gear and have the shows. So there will be a 2-week break. We come back on June 30th and we'll have Bernard Taylor on from Florida. And then you can see down the line there, all the way out to August, we have more after that. And again, if you have somebody that you would love to see on the show, make sure that they know about the show. Let them know that we're here, so we can get them booked. I plan on doing these candidate interviews all the way up through November, through the general election. And then after that, we'll kind of shift the show a little bit. We'll still have some guests from time to time. Liquid Shano, I plan on having him and Ben at some point. And we'll go from there and we'll shift to just talking more about current events and news and, having some fun. But that'll be up through November. That's sort of my goal. So if you know of a candidate that you would love to see on the show, let them know we're here and we'll keep booking out all the way through November. So, all right, let me go back here. Hashtag Mike, and it looks like everybody has entered. Mike, all the yelling of Mike makes me want a Pepsi. Yeah. All right, here we go. We're going to roll. We're going to roll the first one again. Whoever wins the first roll, you get your choice. So you'll just need to let me know if you want the Bearded Coast giveaway or the merch store giveaway, my merch store giveaway. So here we go. Good luck to everybody. So close, Liquid Shano, but we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Shaquille Oatmeal, congratulations. Everybody do me a favor in the chat, drop a congratulations for Shaquille Oatmeal. And I'm going to say every time I love that name. Huge Shaq fan, but Shaquille Oatmeal, congratulations. Shaq, let me know in the chat which giveaway you would like to carry out of here tonight. And I'll write this down so that I don't mess this up. Hey, there's still one more to go there, Shano. Still one more to go, man. And I'm gonna wait for Shaq to decide which one she wants. And no pressure. You're not gonna hurt mine or Scott's feelings, whichever way you decide. So, not at all. Yep. Congrats. So, Shaq, do you want the bearded coat? Okay, there we go. So she says she would like the bearded coat shirt. So. I will put that down. So, Shaq, what I'll need from you, just reach out to me wherever, and let me know. If you go to beardedcoast.com, look at the merch, let me know which shirt you would like, size, color, all that stuff, if you look through there. And then I'll just need a message with your shipping info, your the information for the shirt you would like, and then an email address also for the gift card. So, congratulations, Shaq. Dynamite, I have not been watching. I've not been really watching much NBA this year. The Bucks had a down year. We were busy with stuff. I just really didn't. My thoughts on Wemby. I think the Spurs they found their guy. I think the Spurs are going to be a force for the next. They found a dynasty player, so he's definitely a franchise player. I think that I think the Spurs are probably going to win, and he's going to be a force in the NBA for the next, 20 years. So. Yeah, great player, great guy. All right, so here we go. We're gonna roll for the next one. So, good luck, everybody. Shane, did it to you again. Barry. Barry, congratulations, my friend. So I'm going to write that down and I will send you. Barry, I just need a message from him. He says, finally, yeah. Yes. Congratulations. So I'm going to write that down. Barry, I just need a message from you with your email address and I will get that sent out to you. Everybody do me a favor, drop a congrats in the chat for Barry. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. And I will get that sent out to you as soon as I get your email address. All right, you all. So listen, let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of that. There we go. So yeah, the Bucks were terrible this year, Barry. We'll see what happens with Giannis. Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, it's Tuesday, which means tomorrow's Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. I appreciate you all being here tonight because once again, you could have been doing anything else tonight, but you were here hanging out and you have no idea how much that means to me as I try to grow this channel. YouTube is hard to grow. YouTube is hard to grow. It's much harder than growing on like TikTok or Instagram or even Facebook. So I appreciate you all that are here and sharing the show and hanging out and spending time and chatting and everything. Thank you so much. Throughout the week, if you share, whatever, if you feel so inclined to share, that would always be much appreciated. Thanks for being here tonight. Listen, tomorrow's Wednesday, which means you still have half of a week to find some way to make somebody else's day better. And just like I say every week, if you make somebody's day better somehow, you never know how you're changing their life. I saw some videos on Instagram where this lady, and people have different opinions about this, but I think it depends on the video, where she was just walking up behind people at the grocery store and paying for their groceries. When it was time for them to tap or swipe their card, she was paying for their groceries. And I saw on more than one occasion in these videos, I just kind of went down the rabbit hole of this page, and on more than one occasion, and she was doing this for elderly customers, single moms, people that she looked and felt may have appreciated that. And so many tears from these people, and they told their stories after that they were either shopping for birthday as a single mom, they were shopping for birthdays, or they're on fixed incomes, or whatever, and just tears. That simple act not only made their day better, made their week, their month, probably their year better. Just having groceries paid for, right? And I'm not saying you have to go do that because money is tight for everybody, so we can't all afford to pay for other people's groceries. But there's something you can do to make somebody's day better. Helping them unload their cart, helping them get their cart to the cart return, whatever. I mean, there's a long list. anything you can do to try to make somebody's day better, please do. Please find that opportunity, because I really believe that if we as a collective would just find ways to make somebody else's day better, if we just took care of each other, then this world would be a totally different and better place. And we got to get back to that. I think that's one way that we get there for sure. So if you have an opportunity this week, please try to make somebody else's day better. Much love to all of you. Thanks for being here tonight. We'll see you next week. And of course, I'll see you around social media. But thanks again. Good night. And absolutely, Shano, kindness is free, but is worth millions. 100%. We're going to end with that. Good night, everybody. Much love, and we'll see you next week.